We have two new uniform sets to review. Last time we were actually very pleased with the Lions and especially the Jets. Different story today. It's ugly with the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans. And speaking for myself, my expectations were very low. And this is worse than I was hoping for. So let's start with the Broncos. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different uniform combinations.
Yeah.
And there actually is a 10th that we'll be looking at also. So altogether, you're talking about the NFL season. There's 17 games in the regular season. And pictured here, we have 9 plus 1 additional one. So 10 uniforms, combinations in 17 games.
Yeah. Just terrible for a era that now has so many teams that don't even have a home or road or definitive identity. This is taking it to the most extreme, and for us growing up with teams that basically had a home and a road and a consistent identity, this is just such a disgusting mess.
So how do you even start with this? Because which uniform here is going to be the primary home uniform?
Yeah.
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I would assume it's the one in the very middle.
Yeah.
Because that's the one they're featuring. The blue helmet, the orange jersey, and then the white tights, guys. Not white pants, the white tights.
Yeah, and they were already teasing us with this, as a number of teams were that changed their uniforms just recently, the Texans being one of them, messing with the socks and using the tights, and now here it is full-blown in the new uniform set. But yes, you would think the middle one is the primary home that would be used slightly more often than any other. But with this many combinations, who knows?
We're going to get to our thoughts on all 9 and actually 10 uniforms here. But we need to start with the helmet. You work your way down from the top, and the helmet is where you have your logo. And here's the new Broncos helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, this is the first thing that I honed in on, and I absolutely hate it. It's just a worse version of what they already had. You remove the stripe. I always don't like it when a team has a stripe and then they get rid of it. And then you just have it at the very far back, and it's this kind of hard to see, faint mesh pattern look of a stripe. It's not even worth having there. And on top of it, you go from a glossy helmet to a matte helmet, and it's just way too plain. The logo is now smaller than it was before, and you have the elevation number on the helmet bumper instead of the Bronco name or the logo, though I always prefer the name.
Well, I've never had a problem with the Bronco logo. That's never been the issue with the helmet. I think it's a strong logo.
Yeah.
To represent the team. My complaint has always been I didn't like that they didn't have the traditional striping on the top of the helmet.
Right.
Well, if you're looking from the front straight on view, you would not think there even is a stripe on there.
Right.
That's one thing. Then when you're looking from more the top view or from behind, you see it's sort of a partial stripe, and it's arrowed, if you will.
Yeah.
It's not even, it doesn't even come to a squared off end.
Yeah.
for that. And then it sort of has this Seahawks look to it,
Right.
which I don't care for. The 5280. It doesn't even say Broncos.
Yeah.
It says 5280 on the helmet,
Yeah.
and then it's a matte helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a primary helmet with a 5280 on it, not even an alternate. And then we're going from glossy to matte. And like you just said, they were radically different when they introduced their new set with this helmet style. And
You always remember, it's the 97 Broncos.
Right.
The 97 Broncos.
And the stripe
team.
down the middle was not conventional, and then they're being unconventional here with this quarter stripe.
I mean, they were very memorable uniforms because the first year they wore those uniforms, they won it all.
Yeah.
The first time they ever won a Super Bowl, John Elway, the helicopter,
Yeah.
beating the Packers, and then they repeat it.
Right.
So these are the uniforms you think of when you think of success with the Broncos. They had them too long.
Yeah.
But again, I say the helmet was never really the issue. All they had to do was just clean up the stripe on the top of the helmet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have been happy with keeping this helmet, though we've said episode after episode, it feels like, that would we just go back to the classic traditional uniforms for the Broncos, the originals, because these had a good run. They ran its course. They
Yeah.
were trendy. It was time to go back to something more traditional.
Yeah.
This is very disappointing, to put it mildly, with the helmet that everything's bad about it now except for the Bronco logo itself.
Right. Yeah, we were thinking, hoping at the first that maybe they would be going more, at least back in the traditional retro direction with the whole uniform set, especially the helmet, though, with the color rush and snow-capped white helmet that they had last year. But they didn't. They just got even further away from that.
The helmet was the one strength of the uniform. That's what we said when we had the full uniform review show,
Yeah.
where we ranked all the NFL uniforms back in 2021. And we went over 3 hours talking about our rankings.
Yeah.
And that's all we really had to say that was good about it. There wasn't, and with this helmet, if I can say a positive, is there isn't anything that is scream-worthy. There isn't, though there's a lot wrong here.
Yeah.
Meaning they didn't do anything with the colors. I mean, I didn't expect anything to happen with the colors, but the fact they went from a glossy helmet to a matte helmet, that's one thing. Then they put the 5280 now, that has to be the stupidest thing on any helmet.
Yeah. A primary helmet.
And they got that, thank you, Nuggets. I have to thank the Nuggets for that with
Yeah.
their City Edition uniforms, which we went on to rip in a earlier episode.
Yeah.
And then this striping now, just leave it off at that point.
Yep. Leave it off. This helmet is very much like the recent Falcons' new helmet. It's just a bad revision of what they previously had, and you can say the same about the Texans, which we're going to talk about in a moment here.
But that's not the only helmet for the Broncos, because they also have a white helmet. And before we even get in this helmet, it appears that we're in for a long off season of alternate helmets.
Yeah. With the new rule that you can have a second alternate helmet, it just opens the door for a whole lot more ugly and bad, because so many teams have already done a retro turn back. There isn't a lot more room for others. I'm sure there will be, but as we already pointed out with the Lions having the new matte blue helmet with their new uniform set, the Broncos carried over the snow-capped ones here, but it's such a waste because they don't have the retro logo on it. They don't have anything different. It's just a white version of the same primary helmet that they have for the most part.
And we were hoping that white helmet was going to be a one and done.
Yeah.
That's all we need to see of it, and that was it. No, the Broncos said, "Oh, it was only the beginning. We want to move forward with this, and make it a regular look for our team."
Yeah.
But we could really get bogged down with the helmets here. It's bad. It is bad, but there is a lot more to see because we're gonna give our comments on all 9 you see here, and then the extra uniform set. But let's just start off with the one in the middle, which we think is the standard home. Your thoughts?
Yeah, just a inferior version of what they already had to me. We already discussed it a bit beforehand. It is improved basically only in getting rid of the hooks on the jersey and the pants. But the sides of the sleeves are ugly, jagged, trying to look like a mountain there. And the number font is okay. The pants, the new stripe, again, just not a traditional stripe, can't do that. So it's just this mediocre design. And then, of course, you can't have blue or orange stockings or
Socks.
Yeah. You have to have all white all the way down and skin tight on top of it.
And it's a fight that we're willing to continue to fight for, or a battle that's worth fighting.
Yeah, we're not gonna ignore it or just pretend like it's normal. We're gonna keep pointing it out. But just from what you would think, the Broncos having this long history of rich uniform design and tradition, you were thinking because of the color rush and some of the alternates, the snow-capped helmet that they had recently, they would be going back more towards that and more winning looks. But no, this is just an inferior version of what they already had as far as I'm concerned.
It's just hugely disappointing. My expectations were very low, but this was worse. I wasn't expecting the all tights look for the Broncos.
Yeah.
They've been a successful franchise. They've had a lot of winning seasons, many Super Bowl appearances, and they come out with something like this. It's a major downgrade for their home uniform. And I'm just looking across these 9 uniforms. Every single one has to have the Broncos name on there. You don't need that on your jersey in the NFL. You don't.
Nope.
And again, if you're a traditional established team, of course you don't need it on there.
Yeah, but to sell jerseys and make sure your fans know what they're wearing, you have to put them on there, and it goes on to the field edition too.
And I'll just say too, as we run through these, I give every single one of these a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Each of them.
And there's even combinations that I'm sure that they haven't included.
Well,
blue on blue on blue. And
well, just imagine, I was thinking they could have had the orange all the way down with an orange helmet.
Yeah.
I'm almost surprised they don't have that.
Over the white helmet.
Which is a relief.
Yeah.
I don't see an all white all the way down with the white helmet.
That's surprising.
Or blue here.
Yeah.
Let's go now to the left. So I almost think the best one, if you can call it that, is this second one to the left, the blue helmet, white jersey, and then blue all the way down.
I agree. And it's very unoriginal, but there's just the rule that we always say of having the contrast and alternating colors, where a helmet matches the pants and then you have an alternate jersey looks better, and that's what you have there. So I would agree it's the best of all of them, probably.
Then we have the white helmet on blue jersey with orange pants and then stockings going down.
One of the worst. Terrible mismatch. 3 different colors, unbalanced.
Yeah, that one for me is an F. I was going to give, I'm not going to give letter grades myself to all these, but
that's the worst.
That's definitely an F. The blue on orange and then blue.
A bit better because at least it has the complementing helmet and pants going together in contrast with the jersey, but you got the stockings, of course.
And again, I just sit here and say, going through these, which one of these are they going to wear? Are they going to wear any of these more than 3 times? Probably
Low
not.
chance, you'd think.
It's crazy. The blue helmet, white on orange. On white.
Yeah, that's
There
a
on the
little bit better than some of them because it does have some contrast and it doesn't have the orange stockings going all the way down with the pants, but still 3 different colors.
Yeah, I honestly can't stand that one. And the white helmet, the blue on blue, white helmet and then blue all the way down.
Yeah, that should be the blue helmet with that set, and it would help a lot, even though it's really bad nonetheless.
It's awful. And then there's the blue with the white all the way down.
Which is the closest thing to the original Road and probably one of the more decent ones, but
Yeah.
the blue socks or stockings would help with that.
Right. Why couldn't you just throw the blue in when we said this? The second one featured by number 19 there with the blue all the way down.
Yeah.
If you just put some blue socks, it's better. And I can't believe, I'm saying that all white look with the blue is actually one of the better ones. I'd say
Yeah.
those 2 Road ones by 19 and 0 are probably the 2 that I would prefer out of the group.
Yeah.
And then, the blue and then orange all the way down with 77.
Yeah, it's one of the worst. Definitely. Too much orange, too much of a one-piece look.
And actually on the one on the end, just because it's alternating with the white helmet, blue jersey, white pants, blue socks, it turns out to be one of the better ones, I suppose, but it's just not the Broncos. I mean, that's my problem with it.
Just give that one the blue helmet and it would be probably the best.
Oh, I end up liking that more than most of them, but I like those, what I figure are 2 primary Road uniforms
Yeah.
more than the rest.
Yeah, so again, just off the top of our heads, we've already picked out 2 combinations that they don't even have on here, which would add 2 more. The blue on blue on blue on blue, and the blue on white on blue. So you could have 2 more here.
I mean, it just gives you a blistering headache looking at this, thinking, this is what the Broncos have, and we didn't grade them very high. They were in the bottom half, but they were just a little below average when we did the full uniform grades. Now, I would put the Broncos in among the 5 worst uniforms in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah.
They would be, I don't know if I'd call this an F, but they're in the D range for me.
Same here. D range, close to F.
But not far off from an F.
Yeah. And it makes what they previously had to me look passable and average and tolerable. And I never liked the orange jersey that much with the previous set, but if they just wore the blue helmet, blue jersey, white pants, blue socks, and then the blue helmet, white jersey, white pants, blue socks, I'll be fine compared to this.
I'm glad to say, though, I'm happy, pleased that we have one good uniform to look at for the Broncos. And you and I have been asking for this for seasons. Why can't this be the main uniform?
Yeah.
I mean, who could possibly say that has any taste? Any of those other 9 uniforms that we saw even comes close to this.
Yeah.
I mean, the blue helmet, they finally get the color and the shade right.
Right.
The orange is brilliant. The shoulders are superior to anything we saw. The pants, the striping on the pants, the solid white with the orange and blue striping. I'm not big on striped socks. It is so much better because they are socks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not big fan of stripes, but I'm all for this look, and I wish it was what they had. It pops. It would put the Broncos definitely in at least the I'd say B range
Yeah.
for uniforms, and they'd be above average with these instead of being D knocking on the door of F.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
how you do helmet striping.
Full, right down the middle, top to bottom. Perfectly complements the striping on other parts of the jersey, especially the socks. And you got the glossy helmet. And this shade of blue, I said I didn't like the orange jersey as much with the previous set of uniforms and this now new set, but with this shade of blue, the orange looks fine. It's not too big of a contrast.
Yeah, when you put them up against some of the other AFC West uniforms, say the Raiders road or the Chiefs road, I mean, really any of them, the Chargers done right.
All
Oh,
good.
what a great set of matchups you'd have there
Yeah, all good.
with the Broncos wearing this. And you'd love to see this either at night or I'd hope it'd be a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Because you don't always know about lighting, and you don't always know about lighting in Denver.
Yeah.
I would hope they would pick this for a prime time game, and you can't count on it more than once.
Yeah.
Because of everything we saw, I would hope for twice. But please select this for a Sunday night, Monday night, or Thursday night game. Do what the Eagles did
Yeah.
last year.
They did it twice, and they were one of the exceptions. But most of the teams were the throwback only once. The Seahawks added one, the one in Dallas, but hopefully they wear this twice and under the night lights to highlight it better.
And that's the only thing the Broncos got right
Yep.
with their uniforms.
Going back to what worked better.
The Texans. One of the things I'll say about the Houston Texans is it's very difficult because they're in the same state as the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are known for their uniforms, for the star on their helmet. Everyone knows who they are, and they have great uniforms when they're worn right.
Yeah.
Then we also are huge fans of the Oilers.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I've never taken the Texans seriously is because of their uniforms. I never really have, and if I was just to bring it down to one reason, I'd say that's it.
Yeah. You go from the Oilers being the Houston team to the Texans being the Houston team, and the colors are not even close to as unique as the Oilers.
About 20 years later, since they entered the league, I still see them as an expansion team because of their uniforms.
Yeah. Uniforms and limited success on the field.
So let's get into this. The new Texans uniforms.
Yeah, to me, the offense isn't as big as the Broncos because we didn't grow up with the Texans in the 90s, and we grew up with the Oilers. And so we don't have the history like we did with the Broncos, watching their uniforms change and then kind of growing up with both the orange light blue helmet with the revised Super Bowl Bronco John Elway winning the Super Bowl uniforms. But with the Texans, it's more, like you said, an expansion team. A set of colors is not unique, and just in both cases, the Broncos and the Texans, all the hype that was made about the uniforms, the primary product, if you're just looking from standing back far, doesn't look that different than what they already had. The alternates that the Texans came up with, especially more in the Broncos, look a bit more different, but they were even wearing red on red already, and they've already worn blue on blue. So just in general, just not that different looking for all the hype about these new uniforms.
Right. For finally having a new uniform set, and it took too long. I know they want to try to establish a look.
Yeah.
And then they make all this excitement and hype for new uniforms, and in many ways, especially when coming to the home uniform, not a whole lot actually changed for them. I mean, let's start with the helmet. The helmet is nearly the same.
Yeah.
It's very, very close. The difference with the helmet, don't really feel that the helmet was the issue, but we see more subtle changes with the uniform, the jersey, the pants, and once again you're going to see here that there are different options with the sock or the stocking, blue or white. But here's a side-by-side comparison from, really we're just saying the waist up, from what they had. As you can see, J.J. Watt here, the most well-known Texan of them all, and then here's what you have with the new uniform on the left.
Yeah, it's just basically an inferior version of what they previously had. And just one additional note on the helmet: thank you for not going matte like the Broncos. And I say, from what I could tell, the logo on the helmet is slightly smaller to fit the space better, because with the newer type helmets, they were having to shove it back farther. Anyway, back to the uniform itself.
Well, two positives I'll start with. That I never liked the amount of red around the collar.
Yeah.
That's a slight improvement, though I don't know why they kept any color there, to be honest.
Yeah, and then they don't complete it.
Need anything there. And then the hooks on the shoulders, I didn't like that either. Yeah. That look, they removed that. Those are my positives. But my negatives are, and criticisms are, why did you keep that incomplete collar look there? That's one thing.
Yeah.
I think it's redundant having the Texan logo on the shoulders when it's already there on the helmet.
Yeah.
I don't think you need anything there. The numbers are worse than what they had previously. And then on the back, the name is red. That doesn't work well.
No.
It was white, and that was better.
Yeah.
And it would have been a perfect opportunity, of course they're not going to do this, to remove the Texans from the uniform.
Yeah.
And the white looked better than the red.
Matches the white numbers, yeah.
So if I'm putting all that together, for me, this is worse. It's not significantly worse, but it is worse than what they had.
Right.
And they already had weak uniforms.
Right.
Then there's the road uniform. We're just picturing one here. We saw two different versions with the socks again.
Yeah.
And we should say that for the home uniform. Obviously, it's much worse, though, if when you're taking into consideration the pants, if they're going to go with the all-white stocking look.
Yeah.
If it's the blue sock look, okay, not as bad overall, but if it's the white look, which, let's face it, that's what they're probably going to have, then we're talking about even more of a drop-off.
Yeah.
Here with the road uniform, you have the blue pants from what we've seen. So with the Texans road, you have either the blue stocking or white sock or stocking. Look, I have a bigger problem with these than the home.
Yeah.
Because of these sideways horn. Maybe they're horns.
Yeah.
Really, they're horns more than they're hooks.
Right.
That's a bad design. I don't like it, even if it goes along with the logo and the helmet. It's not a good look for a jersey.
Yeah, the only thing I like about this set is that it does have the alternating, contrasting helmet, dark blue, pants dark blue with different colored jersey, but otherwise,
And
worse than the home.
I agree. I'd say more the jersey's my problem.
Yeah.
But my concern with both the Broncos and the Texans is that we're going to get the white stocking look more often than not
Yeah.
with these. But I would prefer that early over the all blue, as
Yeah.
you see here. When I'm talking about at home, especially when you're talking about home uniforms, you're going to get white all the way down, and that's already been pictured for the
Right.
Texans.
And they were using that the last couple years too, with their previous uniform set.
But they have two more alternate uniform sets, and here we have it, the all red look. And the helmet, let's just say the helmet is terrible.
Yeah, one of the worst in football now. All it's got going for it is that it's not matte.
And all they have is the horn, one
Yeah.
horn on there.
One horn.
It's not only a red version. I mean, this is very Arena League to
Yeah.
me, very
UFL,
UFL, right?
XFL, college football.
And the fact that it's all red. I mean, it is all red. We did the review of the Texans when they debuted the red helmet. The reason why that wasn't so bad, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it might have been, was because it was a red helmet, red jersey, white pants
Right.
look. And they still kept the white numbers. Here, the blue numbers don't work.
Nope.
The dark blue numbers. And I don't like the horn either on these.
Yeah.
That's a good element though about the home is they don't have that. And if I did have to say, well, pick between the horn and the logo, I would rather have the logo on there.
Same here.
And the name is blue too on the back. For me, F.
Yeah.
These are Fs.
Yeah, even if they just added blue socks to the set, it would be better. But this is an F for me too.
And I can only hope they're going to wear these once.
Yeah.
And they will retire them after that one time wearing them.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the new, exciting alternate uniform set that they have.
Because it includes the Oilers' color of blue.
But the only place they have the blue on is really the helmet and, you know, a little outline around the numbers and around the Texan logo. It's just pointless to me.
Yeah, it's mainly in the accessories, the gloves and the cleats. And the H, unless there's some history or significance to it, I doubt there is. It's too much like the Clippers.
It reminds me of the Titans, really.
Very
To me,
much
it's
like the
very much a Titans look, and you're trying to get away from that being the Texans.
Yeah,
This, and then once again, the numbers are the wrong color. They're
Right.
red, not white.
or blue.
Or wouldn't you make those? You
Yeah.
could even make those blue
Yeah,
if you want to make. And I'm not even saying that's a good look.
No.
But if you're trying to use that as another color, but the blue and blue thing that the Titans do doesn't work.
no.
This is another big thumbs down for me. These are like D minuses for alternates.
Yeah, very unoriginal and poorly designed.
So all in all, the Texans are worse
Right,
than what they were before.
right.
And when you're comparing, though, the Texans against the Broncos, I would say, though, the Broncos are worse off now than the Texans.
I agree.
Especially if, well, again, this is very difficult to know what their standard look is, but if we're just going with what we think the standard uniforms are I'm going to say that the Broncos have fallen and they have become worse than the Texans even.
Right.
And that's really saying something for a team with good history like they have.
Yeah, initially I too thought they were going to get better, the Broncos, and based on their color rushes and various the snow-capped helmet, you thought that that's what they were going in the direction of more, but once those early pictures start leaking out, you could see it was not going to be pretty.
So those are the 4 uniforms that we're aware of that have changed. Jets did the best of everybody.
Yeah.
Very good. Lions at least got the home right, which is a major improvement. The Texans got a little worse, and the Broncos are among the very worst in all the league.